Oh,
This is our case study scenario. I'm Allie,
I'm John.
I'm Marko.
and here's our scenario. So, Tracy is a talented high school lacrosse player who seems to be her own worst enemy. Tracy is a perfectionist, and whenever she makes a mistake or performs poorly, she gets down on herself and begins to focus on all her faults. She consistently puts herself down for not being able to eliminate these silly mistakes. Unfortunately, when Tracy gets down on herself, she can't let go and keeps running these negative thoughts and personal put downs over and over in her head. This negative attitude affects her confidence, concentration, and her performance suffers. Tracy has had several slumps during the season that seem to be brought on by her inability to deal constructively with her flaws and mistakes.
So one of the most important things of her situation is arousal recognition. Arousal is the physiological and psychological activation where levels can vary depending on the person and the situation. Arousal level is almost always associated with positive feelings. However, that's a very general misconception. It's positive and negative feelings and events. And different levels of arousal and level of performance are unique to individuals. Tracy experiences these high levels of arousal when she makes a mistake, which then compounds into more mistakes, self-doubt, lack of focus, and concentration. She suffers from cognitive anxiety. Cognitive anxiety is the thought component of anxiety. It's the negative emotional state with intense feelings of worry and nervousness associated with that arousal of the body. She has cognitive state anxiety. The reason I say state anxiety is because it's only brought upon when she makes mistakes in that current state. It's the in the moment, right now feeling and the degree to which one has negative thoughts. She also has pretty severe worry trait anxiety. She's constantly in a panic and a worry when she does make these mistakes. It's a characteristic of one who experiences worry and or self-doubt. Also, it's pretty glaring that she has concentration disruption. When she engages in these mistakes, it kind of sidetracks her. It's the degree to which one experiences disruption of focus during this competition. There's a ton of methods to reduce this cognitive anxiety, but I think one of the most important concepts to grasp is it's important to understand that different methods work for different people in different ways. There's no better method than the other. It kind of depends on the situation and person, place, things along those lines. There's the relaxation response, which is opposite fight or flight. The nervous system is extremely calm, where in fight or flight, it's super activated, super high stressful situations. So the relaxation response puts you in a relaxed state. It focuses by reducing muscle tension, lowering blood pressure, things along those lines. And some methods that are included in the relaxation response include meditation, stretching, yoga, things along those lines. Autogenic training, which is the main goal, would be obtaining warmth and heaviness to produce a relaxed mental and physical state. It involves telling your body commands and be kind of putting together your body and mind to work as one. And then there's also hypnosis. If Tracy were to engage in this, she would have to see a hypnotist because, that's a professional that would do it. But this is a trance-like mental state which alters perceptions, feelings, thoughts, and actions. One underlying one that I don't think is mentioned enough would be imagery. Imagery could be used as a coping strategy. We touched upon this in class, where you're in a relaxed state and you're using visualization to kind of overcome this cognitive anxiety.
So another method of anxiety reduction that can be used is somatic anxiety reduction. And this can be used in many different ways. The point of this is to help people learn to feel that tension that they have in their muscles and then let it go, release all that tension. So two ways that Trace can use this is through the progressive relaxation. So progressive relaxation involves tensing and relaxing specific muscles one at a time. So if Tracy makes a bad play while playing lacrosse, maybe squeeze your fist, get all that tension, and then you let it go and you keep moving forward. You learn to get everything built up and then let it out and then just keep going on. Another form is the breathing control. Now, this is really the easiest way to control anxiety. Many people use it in many different scenarios. So you want to stay calm, confident, and in control. And everyone hears the scenario of in through your nose, out through your mouth, just kind of controlling your breathing, regulating it, And it's really going to help you be able to calm down and relax.
So oftentimes it is hard to get through people who experience this, but one way Tracy can start to work at it is by participating in positive self talk. Positive self talk is an inner monologue that makes you feel good about yourself and everything going on in your life. So during a game, when Tracy gets down on herself, instead of saying, I suck, I can't do this, I give up, she needs to say things like, it's okay, it was just one play, I got this next time. Um, I'll move on from this mistake and just keep working at it. She needs to avoid the negative self talk, which is explained more down below, but I just touched on it a little bit. It's also important to form meaningful relationships off the field, and these can translate on the field, allowing teammates and coaches to express their concerns. I have a best friend here on the team on my field hockey team, who is textbook definition, just like Tracy, of this anxiety during games. And it's really important to form meaningful connections with these people because on the field, it'll allow you to be able to be a little bit more mean and kind of yell at them to tell them to get out of their head so they focus on the next play and keep participating in the game.
So there are many different coping strategies. So let's start off with what is coping. So coping is the process of constantly changing cognitive and behavioral efforts to manage specific external or internal demands or conflicts appraised as a taxing or exceeding one's resources. So in short, coping is just really being able to adapt and shift throughout different patterns to deal with certain demands that the individual has. For Tracy, there's a few different coping strategies she could use. One would be problem focused coping. So this involves kind of focusing in on and managing the cause of the stress. This can be resolved with the time management and problem solving. So for Tracy, a scenario would be, stop thinking of all the negative outcomes that are going to happen in the game or that have happened, but rather focus on those small victories. If you missed the net on a shot, but you made a really good pass, say, hey, I made a really good pass, and, try to build yourself up that way. Another form of coping is emotional focused coping. And this is really regulating those emotions. This is a internal process that the person deals with, how they're stressors. So if you have a big game, you're very stressed out for it. Before the game, maybe meditate, use the breathing control exercises, and just try to relax, try to get rid of all that negative thought processes, those self-blame methods, and just relax. And another strategy is goal setting, which John will talk about.
So yeah, as Marco mentioned, goal setting is one way to deal with her anxiety and her problems on the field. There's several different types of goals, that being subjective goals, objective goals, outcome goals, performance goals, and process goals. Some goals listed are pretty much more specific to Tracy's situation than others. One being subjective goals. These are broad statements of intent. This would be goals along the lines of, Tracy saying to herself through self-talk, hey, I'm going to make a friend today. I'm going to take, each minute in stride. Things along those lines. It's not really measurable. Objective goals are achieving a measurable task in a specific time, not really persistent to Tracy's situation because, it's not performance based. Outcome goals are the end result. So that'd be more of like an end season type of deal, which also doesn't, because Tracy's going on a day by day basis. Performance goals specifically. So this would be achieving standards within yourself by not comparing yourself to other competitors. I think one of the main things that Tracy needs to grasp is she's kind of in a battle with herself to overcome this anxiety and overcome compounding mistakes that happen after one little mistake, because as mentioned, she is a good player. And then last but not least would be process goals. These are steps one must take to achieve a larger goal. I like the saying, trust the process, because, it's a day by day step. It really is. And to get to that main goal, to get to Tracy not, ending on a bad note and not suffering from anxiety, I think this is super important for her to take it day by day.
With goal setting, you have to remember that sometimes you can encounter problems. I just highlighted the four main problems I think are most important in remembering when setting goals. So it is is an imperative that you do not set unrealistic goals. It has to be a goal that you can realistically achieve in an amount of time you have alluded for said goal. So, an example for this would be for Tracy would be her planning out a whole game of telling herself not to get in her head and stuff like that when she should really take it step by step and focus on each play. It's also hard to, or you also have to keep in mind that setting too many goals at once could ruin your focus on specific goals that you want to achieve. You only have a fixed amount of time and energy. So if you focus on too many goals at once, you won't be able to give the individual goals the attention they need and really work on achieving those. You have to remember it's really important to provide goal follow up and evaluation. Um, it's important to have small goals inside your overarching goals so you can celebrate little victories in order to keep you motivated to complete the full goal in itself. And you want to make sure the goals you create are personal. Oftentimes on teams, I know personally for me, my coach does goal setting with us, and oftentimes the goals that we set on teams are team goal, not individual goals. So you want to make sure you differentiate the goals you want to achieve from the goals of your team.
So there's many different ways that Tracy can cope with this. One is, like John said, is the performance goals. Focus on that game to game. Focus on your own ability and what you can control. The biggest thing as an athlete growing up was always being told control what you can control. And for Tracy, she really needs to take that to heart and understand that not every single time she's going to make a phenomenal play, but it's how you respond to that. Another way Tracy can cope is with the 4 W's: the wish, want, way, and will goals, willpower. So for the wish power, it's identifying those dream goals on a game to game basis. What do you want to achieve in that game? Hey, do I want to score? Do I want to win? Do I want to have an assist? Depending on that. The want power is, kind of that realistic goals. Not every game you're going to score 10 goals. So just being able to contribute and help your team out any way you can. The way power is kind of developing those multiple plans and strategies in which she can help the team win and help improve herself and get better. The willpower is simply comes down to just your determination and discipline. With this, it's if you have that bad play, recover from it, reset, and reattack. Kind of how Ali touched upon with her image was the SMART goals. Now, this is the specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, timely, and self-determined goals. And mainly for Tracy, with all these goals, it's, like I said, taking on a game-to-game basis and being very realistic. That's the most important thing, because if you're unrealistic and there's no way you can achieve that goal, you're going to get down on yourself no matter what. So just be able to kind of reset and analyze every game as a new day. So in conclusion, we came up with many different coping strategies that Tracy can use during her hardships, but we mainly focused on the goal setting. All three of us are athletes, and we understand what it's like to compete and what it's like to get very frustrated during times. And the goal setting is just a very realistic and manageable way to attack every situation. If you come in understanding what you need to do and how you need to get there and what your plan B is, your plan C, depending on how things go, and being able to adapt very quickly, that's what's going to help you get off, that slump. That's what's going to help you perform better and help your team win. And that's it.